I'm glad we're not America. Sorry, Americans. I should say United Stateses or something, because I don't want to buy guns in my supermarket and I do want to buy sanitary ware in my supermarket. So,
Well, apparently I heard talking about in America, like I was watching a YouTube channel and this American came to Australia and he couldn't believe that we don't have liquor in our department, in our supermarkets.
yeah, some do in different states. There's different laws, or it's next, or it's
Well, but yeah,
attached.
it's still not in the supermarket though. It is attached, but it's still a
Yeah,
separate shop. Yeah.
yeah, mm,
Mm,
yeah.
yeah. And I thought,
Like,
oh, there you go. That wouldn't worry me if the liquor was available in the supermarket. I,
it, yeah, it wouldn't worry me personally because I don't really care, but I'd
either.
rather it was still managed separately just to manage who's going through the shop and is the person checking it properly, especially with self-checkout.
Well, I suppose that's why they're in separate shops, isn't it? Because alcohol is regulated and you're not allowed to buy it if you're under 18.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Mm.
it would be too hard to manage that regulation at a supermarket level,
Yeah.
whereas it can be managed when it's a
Yeah.
separate shop. Yeah, they just don't serve you.
Mm.
And if
It's
they think you're look, under 18.
Yeah, well, I think it's 21 in every state in the US. I'm not sure if that's correct, but I know I saw a video of Will Smith and his son Jaden. He asked his son what he wanted to do for his 18th birthday, and he said, "Oh, I want to go to London." I said, "Oh, okay,
Oh, so
we'll
you
go to
can
London."
drink.
18 drinking, yeah. So
Yeah,
Smith
yeah,
got over there and went, "Oh, I've been had." So
yeah,
smart kid,
yeah,
also wealthy.
yeah. Well, it used to be 21 in Australia, didn't it? But my
Yes.
whole life it's been 18.
Ditto, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, so I
having
don't
said
know.
that, I walked into the Ardrossan pub when I was 15 to find my father, and he turned around and said, "What do you want to drink?" And I went, "Yeah, yeah, I'll have a masala and coke because that's what I
And
drank."
did they give you one?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
He
Well, you
just got a
are allowed to have one, though. I don't know
no,
whether it's spirits. Is it
no. You're
just
not allowed
wine?
to have anything now. So
Oh, really? That's
if
changed then.
someone underage has a drink, it's a 5,000. Is it 5,000? $500 fine for the child.
Mm.
Is it? Yeah, several thousand for the person who's looking after the child, and the pub actually gets fined about 50K
Oh, okay, because you used to be able to have, I don't know, one drink or something if you were under
with
a
an adult.
guardian. Yeah, with a
Yeah, no,
guardian or parent. Yeah.
yeah, no. Because Mum
Oh,
offered
okay.
my daughter a glass of champagne at a pub one day, and I went, "No, you can't do that." I said, "Why not? We
Mm,
always did, you know." And it's like, Mum, this is the thing.
mm,
The kid gets fined, we get fined, and the pub gets fined. So,
mm.
yeah. So you just can't risk it. Earlier than our time, women weren't allowed in the pub. You know,
Well, that's
they'd
right.
sit in the car with the kids in the back, and Dad would take out a shandy for her.
Well, and that's why there was such a big thing about women being allowed into some of the men's clubs and whatnot with the whole feminism movement, isn't it? Because so much of the business was happening behind closed doors that women weren't allowed into because the men would go to these men's clubs where they're having their drinking and shaking their hand on their business deals,
Mm, yeah,
which was part of why there was such a push by the feminists,
yeah. Well,
yeah, to get that
kid,
changed.
when I was a kid, I think when I was really quite little, we probably couldn't go in the pub, but a bit later on, we were allowed in the lounge, but not in the bar.
My mum and dad weren't big pub goers, so I don't even know. My pop used to go to the local football club rooms, so I remember going up there quite a bit.
Mm,
But I don't think if we went to the pub, it was just to get a meal.
okay. My father
Yeah.
was at the pub for 2 hours minimum every night. He
Mm,
went home, didn't even come home. He went to the pub from work,
mm,
the local pub near us, and stayed there until dinner time, 7:30.
mm. I
So,
don't think he was alone. I think there was a
oh
lot of
no,
men in that category. Yeah.
yeah, it was standard, and I think perhaps the drinking culture needs to be explained to some too. Um, Everyone was raised drinking a form of beer in England before, well before our time, because
Mm,
water wasn't safe. But by
mm,
putting water through with the hops and processing it, it cleaned it. So beer was
mm,
safer than water in a lot of places, particularly in England, right through the, you know, Middle Ages and stuff. Everybody drank beer because it was yeah, you would die if you drank water.
mm,
So they got in such a habit and it's just been carried forward, even though it's no longer necessary. So,
mm. I don't like beer.
no, I don't either. I gave it up when I was 7, of all things, because we were just given it all the time. So,
Mm,
yeah, I mean, I joke I was weaned on wine, but I basically was. So,
mm,
we had wine with every meal. So, Dad would be at pub 2 hours drinking beer, come home, start drinking wine with Mum.
mm.
Mm.
Well,
So,
my dad was a teetotaler, but mum drank and still does. Like,
yeah.
yeah, she's always had a bit of drink. So
Okay. Why was Dad a teetotaler?
apparently he didn't like it.
Okay. Hmm.
Because dad died, I was a young adult when dad died, but I'd never talked to him about it. So I don't know firsthand.
Yeah.
But that's what mum said. Mum just said, no, he just didn't like it. And I thought, well, I got his genes because there's very little alcohol that I like. That's why
Hmm.
I don't drink. I'm so glad I don't like alcohol because addicted to things really easily. Like, I don't know, I
Okay.
just seem to have this
They,
nature. Like, I just get, yeah. I just think that if I like to drink, maybe I'd become an alcoholic. And that's the same with cigarettes. I'm so glad I
mm,
never started because I
yeah.
don't think I would have found it easy to give it up.
Yeah.
But it was disgusting. I remember I only ever once I tried it once as a teenager and it was so gross. I just thought,
Yeah.
why do people do this? Plus, it was peer pressure to start smoking. And so, stubborn Sonia,
Yep. Yep.
don't tell me what to do. I'm
That's
going to
how
smoke
I
just because.
think. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was part of. So I was really lucky that I avoided it as a teenager. Then
Yeah.
I tried again, like when my first husband was being rather unpleasant and things weren't very nice. But I remember thinking, I'll show you, I'm going to have a cigarette. Like I was just being petty. Oh my God, do you think that I could smoke it? Like, yeah, no, it was so disgusting.
Yeah.
So I'm really glad that I found it so gross.
Yeah. Because I've been brought up with alcohol so profusely and watched everyone around me drink to oblivion a lot of the time. I
Mm,
was a binge drinker, so I would really write myself off, which was awful. But I gave up
mm,
in my 20s completely for several years, and I considered myself an alcoholic. Later, I decided to have a little bit, and mostly I have been able to manage just have 1 or 2 glasses with people occasionally, and it's gotten less and less over the years.
mm,
I have
mm,
been inebriated twice in the last 3 decades. Um,
mm,
and on those occasions, it was because somebody else was pouring my drinks every time I looked away. And they were,
mm,
so your drink gets down to there, and then they top it up, and then they top it up, and then they top it up.
mm,
And it's like, yeah, that's the only
mm,
times when, and it was women both times.
mm,
Yeah,
mm.
which was very disappointing. Yeah, so.
Well, I don't have to have very much alcohol to start being a bit drunk. I'm a
Mm.
cheap drunk, as they say.
Yeah, well, I would be now too. So I have, yeah, we've got a birthday party to go to Saturday night. I might have something, I'll see. But
Mm,
honestly, I really don't care. If someone's got a new bottle of red wine, dry red wine, that I haven't tried before, I'll have a tiny bit in a glass because I want to try it and taste it.
mm,
But see, red wine's an acquired taste. So I
mm,
developed that very young age.
mm.
Mm,
Well, when my kids were little, because I was a sole parent, I was just so thingy that I didn't want to ever drive. Because, of course, in the country, it doesn't matter where you want to go, you've got to drive.
yeah.
And there's just no way I wanted to be um, like I didn't want to have an accident because I was drunk or something.
Mm.
So I just never, when I would go out, would have a drink at all. And I think that just set up a habit
Yeah.
after that, because prior to that, even though I didn't like alcohol very much, there were a few things that I like. I actually really liked brandy. I
Oh,
don't know
yeah.
whether I do anymore because I haven't had any for so many years. But I quite liked brandy, and I didn't mind masala either, Dee.
Yeah, because it's
So
sweet.
yeah, so there were a few that I didn't mind, but I rarely had them. I didn't like them enough to have them very often.
Yeah.
Um, and then once I was a sole parent with three little kids, there's just no way I was going
Yeah.
to drink and drive.
Yeah.
And yeah, that just set me up. So then after they, left home and whatnot, well, I just was in the habit of not drinking. And now if I have some, I just don't even like it.
You think about the not drinking and the not cigaretting, smoking.
Yeah, that's right. I
How
don't
much
cigaretting.
we would not be in the position we are now had we done those things. Like
Well, that's it. They
I
cost a
can't
lot of money to drink and smoke, doesn't it?
I can't fathom the cost that my parents spent. Like I just
Mm,
it's so beyond my capacity to work out what it would be because they both
mm,
smoked for decades and both drank every single day. Um,
mm,
yeah, I it's such a waste. So yeah, and
mm, we choose
we
what we spend our money on, don't we?
yeah, I mean we'll have a liqueur once in a blue moon to celebrate something, but it's like 30 mils of a liqueur one night. Yeah.
Mm,
Um,
mm.
I
When
just
I went to Bundaberg in Queensland and I went to the Bundaberg factory, I got some of their liqueurs. Oh, one of them was a coffee one. That was nice. Mind you, it took me a really long time to drink,
yeah,
except for because I'd share it, like other
mm,
people drink more than I do. So,
yeah.
but yeah, but
Last
that still
October,
took a
yeah,
while. I think.
yeah. There's a gin distillery down on the York Peninsula called Sunny Hill, and I think it's near
Yep,
Atherton. Yep. And
yep.
friends wanted to go there. We were away with them down the peninsula, so we went
Mm,
there, and I just went, well, there's nothing I can have because I can't have anything with gluten in it, and so many things are processed with gluten-based colorings and other stuff, so you just avoid. And we get there, and it's completely gluten-free, the whole place. Um, and they don't just make gin, which I don't drink, but they make liqueurs and they make special runs. So if they get someone offers them a heap of oranges, they make a run of orange or yeah, so it's
mm,
completely random.
mm,
Anyway, we bought chocolate liqueur, coffee for me, and orange for Tony, and
mm.
gave them to each other for Christmas.
Yeah,
So
that would have been nice.
yeah,
Yeah. Oh, well, I have to admit, a really nice liqueur. Yeah, I'll have a sip.
yeah,
The
yeah,
thing is, I only need much in the bottom. If I have any more than that, then I'm silly.
yeah, yeah. I get
Yeah,
lightheaded if I have more, but I don't like the sense of not having control. So,
me either, Dee.
yes,
That's a personality quirk, isn't it?
yes. So it's like, no, I'm not doing that. And what was
Mm.
sad though was when I did give up, my parents were so rude about it. I guess they
Oh,
said,
really?
oh, shocking. In public
Oh, okay.
settings,
You'd
it,
think that they'd be happy that you gave it up, wouldn't you?
no, they're
But no.
alcoholics.
Well, and because a lot of people see that you're rejecting them socially if you don't
Yeah,
drink with them. That is one of the
yeah,
because most people I come in contact, they just know I'm a non-drinker. They don't feel like I'm rejecting them if I just have a Coke or something or
yeah.
a fizzy water. But yeah, I guess that's what it is, isn't it? They probably felt a little bit rejected that you're rejecting their lifestyle and
Or judged, I don't
rejecting them.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Mm,
and it was mum which really hurt was this someone said, oh, do you want a drink? And I said, oh no, thank you, I don't. And it was just that, oh, leave her alone. She's a wowser. And
wowzer.
that was yeah. So it was the terminology that was thrown around. But
Mm,
I thought, oh wow, that's sad because I would never
mm,
use that to you, sort of thing. But
mm. Yeah,
yeah,
people can find it hard to understand.
yes, yeah.
Yeah.
And most Australians are like that, sadly. So
Well, I think I'm the only non-drinker in all of my family.
okay. Well,
Mm, yeah,
yeah.
everybody else. And
Yeah.
some of them are more than just drinkers.
Yes.
Some of them drink a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well, Tony only has a little bit like me, so he's not much. But see, that was on my list of criteria. If you're a pub goer or a beer drinker, it was a no. I wasn't even going to consider. So I
Mm.
thought that probably crossed off every man in Australia at the time. But yeah, so I can't.
Yeah, there's a few of them out there that don't drink to excess and
Mm,
don't frequent the pubs.
yes.
Mhm. Some
Yeah.
of the pubs are really nice though. Like we've got a hotel here called Craig's Hotel. It is the most beautiful hotel. Like
Yeah.
you go in there and it's just absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
So I sometimes go in there with a friend and I get uh, either a coffee or a tea.
Yeah.
But you could have alcohol. And
Yeah.
it's just such a nice atmosphere in there. I think, gee, I can understand why people like going to pubs,
Mm,
especially some of them are just beautiful. And the
yeah.
staff are friendly and yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Some are that kind of entertainment place. But then most in Australia are just that blokes and all, everybody talking shit and yeah, carrying on. Yeah.
When I went to Ireland and we went to some of the little villages, we went into a couple of the pubs and I suddenly understood the pub scene more.
Okay.
Like, because you sort of see the movies and different things where, the pub is the hub of the community.
Of the village.
And yeah, and it was really like that a bit. Like you'd go in there and everyone was just friendly. Like because we went into a few for to get lunch, to get
Yeah.
food and whatnot.
Yeah.
But there'd be heaps of people in there and they'd all be friendly and just it
Mm.
was really nice. And
Oh,
I
that's
thought,
nice. Yeah.
if I lived here, I think I could become a pub person too. But the Australian culture is a little bit different to that in that the pub's just about getting drunk. Whereas what I
Frequently.
saw there, and I mean, it's been a long time since I went there now. That was in 2012.
Mm,
So I don't know whether culture has changed, but it didn't seem to be that it was just about going to the pub to get drunk. It was
mm.
actually going to the pub to chat with people
Yeah.
and have
Community
a
pub.
drink while you were doing it. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, which is different. Whereas here, often it seems to be more about going to get drunk, and if there's friends there, that's a bonus
Yeah.
instead of the other
Yeah.
way round.
Yeah, it does too,
Mm.
a lot of it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I
Mm,
don't like how loud our pubs are. They're
no.
too loud for me.
Yeah. I want a conversation with someone. I don't want to be shouting. And I don't, yeah, all the
Mm,
competitive stuff and often misogynistic stuff that goes on in pubs. I just can't, nah, walk away.
mm.